What's cracking, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and thank you all for tuning in. As always, really appreciate each and every one of you. For today's video, we're going to do what is unfortunately a bit of an extensive injury report national. This has been one of those years where a lot of riders have been chewed up and spit back out by the gnarls barkliness that is Supercross, and I don't really think there's anything anyone can do about it either. The sport is just really hard and dangerous. But for this video, I'll give you guys a quick rundown on all the injured riders and an update on their return. I'm sure you guys are all wondering when Chase Sexton will be back. And before I get into all this stuff, I got to give credit where it's due. I'm not some super sleuth insider getting all this info myself. For the most part, I've kind of relied on some updates from people in the industry that are at the races every weekend, like PulpMX, Lewis Phillips from Vital MX and the Racer X Injury Report, and more people like that. And another thing, before we get into it, like I always do, got to give a huge thank you and a shout out to the channel sponsors. They help me make all this happen and get to all the races that I go to bring you guys all the content that I do. So please, guys, do me a favor and go check them out. Huge thank you to ASV Inventions, home of the Unbreakable Lever, Serious Studio, who can take care of all your merch needs, and the DesignLabCo.com. They got some great designs in their lab at their co, and if you need graphics, look no further than there. I have links and discount codes in my video description, and if you guys buy from them, a small portion of the sale goes to me to help keep us going. So if you're supporting them, you are literally supporting me. And also, I'm doing the TV announcing for the GT Arena Cross series on Fox Sports 1 and Fox Sports 2 with Daniel Blair. Here's the airing schedule. Would really appreciate it if you guys would tune in. Not only will entertainment be guaranteed in your contract, but it'll also help me keep my job. But thank you guys again for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Alright, let's get started. The first rider of conversation for today is going to be Chase Sexton. Everybody's been waiting to see if he would be back racing after this 1 week break when the series resumes in Birmingham this weekend, but that does not appear to be the case. It was announced yesterday that Chase will be missing the Birmingham round. However, he did start back riding this past week, so that's a good sign, and surely he's got to be inching towards a return, hopefully by next weekend, but if not by then it's got to be the weekend after that. There has been some speculation about whether Chase is actually hurt or not, or whether he's just unhappy with the bike and doesn't want to race it, but in a recent interview, Zach Osborne explained that he knows where Chase crashed, and it had to have been a big one. Plus, Chase is a pretty damn durable dude, so this isn't super common for him, except for that one time when the exact same thing happened at round 1 of Outdoors last year, but I think all the conspiracy talk comes from how vague all the reporting about the injury has been. They did specify that he hurt his back and his hip, but there hadn't really been any news about anything broken or anything like that, and at the end of the day, none of us really know, but I think this is probably about what it looks like. Chase had a big crash, got very banged up, and needed a little time off. If he was in a title fight, could he tough it out? Maybe. That'd probably be a little bit of a different story, but who knows. But one thing I do know is he's not going to get any better on the Kawasaki while not racing it, so for he and the team's sake, hopefully he's back ASAP as possible. Then we got Jett Lawrence. It's been a while since we've talked about and glazed this guy, but he broke his ankle and his foot in the late part of the offseason. Originally, it was looking like we weren't going to see him back until Pro Motocross, but by all accounts, it seems like he's way ahead of schedule in his recovery, and now some reports are coming out that we could and maybe should see him by the end of Supercross. And now with Hunter being in the title fight, that gives him even more of a reason to come back and try to help his brother. Not sure if you guys heard Hunter post-race in Indy, but he pretty much threatened as much when asked about Prado blocking him. The return date on Jett is still unknown, but stay tuned to this. Then we got Cameron McAdoo. This is recent news. He ended up fracturing the top of his humerus in Seattle, and there's definitely nothing funny about that, but of course he sent it the rest of the night thinking he was just banged up, when in reality it was much more than that. He was hoping to be back for Birmingham, but he just wasn't quite ready to be competitive, and for a guy that races through pretty much anything to say that, the dude must be hurting pretty good. But at the same time, got to give it up to Cam for actually knowing when to call it and actually sitting this one out when he maybe shouldn't be out there, so props to him for that, but the PC curse continues, and it is not fun to see. Next up, we got Michael Mosiman. Sing us a song about injury, because damn it, the piano man went down in a practice crash, and he suffered some gnarly injuries. He had a dislocated elbow, broken radius in the wrist, broken fingers, and multiple broken bones in his hand to complete the laundry list of injuries. Mosiman's been having a great season. He was right there in the battle for second in points in 250 West, but unfortunately, the run's over. Then there's Joey Savatgy, the underrated racer of the year who suffered a broken foot in the third main event of the Indy Triple Crown. He was hoping to be back in action for this weekend, but not enough healing's been in the contract, and he's out. You hate to see it. He's been crushing it, but hey, at least now he's got more time to start Twitter beef. No choice. And how about the enigma, Ty Masterpool? Where's he even been? Unfortunately, he's on the injury list now too. He's got a torn labrum while getting ready for Arlington. And guys, that's just my joke for labrum. I'm not trying to call Ty a pussy. I used to say labia whenever I had a torn labrum. No choice, but he got some surgery on that and some surgery on some bad ankles, so Ty is completely laid up and he's likely out for a while. And it sucks to see this out of a dude with so much potential. After the 2024 2024 dream outdoor season where he got a win at High Point and a couple other moto wins. His momentum has seriously stalled out, but he's an unreal talent, and I'm sure he's not done. This was a crazy one. A lot of you guys probably heard about this, but for some of you that didn't, Max Anstie was suffering from an illness throughout the first 6 rounds of the West Series, and I'm not sure if this was related to this or not, but right after Seattle, he actually ended up having to get his appendix taken out. He still got a podium the night before like a true warrior, but now it's buffed out and he's good to go for the showdown. Now a little Justin Barcia update. He's still out after his brutal crash at Anaheim 1 where his impact hit like 69 Gs. A total miracle that the dude's even going to be able to come back at all. So although it's not going to be this weekend, I'm just glad that we can talk about a comeback at all. In the very limited time that we saw him at Anaheim 1, he looked to be right back to business as usual on the new Ducati, even after super limited offseason prep. So it's going to be tough for him when he jumps back into the series this late with everybody else already well into their groove for the series. But I'm looking forward to seeing Bam Bam back and ready to smash somebody. This one's a sticky situation, but then we got Jason Anderson. After some ongoing health issues with what I believe are thyroid problems and some off-the-track action, it appears that Jason may be out for the rest of the Supercross season. I don't know this for sure. It's kind of just speculation, but the team did go out and get Justin Bogle as a fill-in, so that's not exactly a great sign in regards to a Team Fried return. Hopefully everything in Hombre's situation gets all cleared up and we can not only get him back to racing, but more importantly, hopefully the Andersons can live a happy life. Then there's 2 Jews, Julian Beaumer, who had a huge crash and some very scary injuries at the Charlotte Super Motocross round last year. He's been off for a while, but now he's back riding. He moved down to Florida to train at the Baker's factory, and it looks like he's got his sights set on a return at the Pro Motocross opener. Then we got the Masters of the Betas, Team Beta, Benny Bloss, and Mitchell Oldenburg. Both of them are out. A broken wrist for Benny on lap 1 of press day at Anaheim 1. It was one of the first jumps the dude had hit for the entire season, and he had a big crash. Then the very next weekend in San Diego, Freckle had a super scary TKO crash where he laid there face down, ass up for a while, but thankfully it buffed out besides the concussion and a broken arm. But after immediate injuries to both the Beta riders right at the beginning of the season, the team decided to pack it up, and they're just going to focus on a return for the Pro Motocross season to try to get some points for both riders to get into SMX. Then we got Josh Cartwright. He crashed in Indianapolis and tore his ACL. He was hoping to get back to it soon, but now it's looking like he's going to be out a little bit longer while he rehabs it and tries to get his knee back to a decent spot. But luckily for Cartwright, he's got a real job, so he won't have to eat ramen out of a hubcap while he's down and out. He'll be just fine. He's pimping. Now we're back to a positive. Collarbone Cade is back. Cade Clayson broke his collarbone in Houston, but I saw him and chatted with him last week at Club MX on his first day back on the bike, and he told me if all went well, then he'd be back in Birmingham, and it appears that all went well. He's another guy. He's going to have the challenge of jumping back into the series late, but hopefully he can throw himself into some main events here in the latter part of the season. Poor Dylan Ferrandis, he caught the thumb injury bug after crashing on the super tricky Ricky double out of the off-camber at Daytona, and he's out for Birmingham. Luckily, the thumb is not broken or torn, it's just sprained, but thumb injuries are a massive pain in the ass, and it takes him forever to get the strength to come back. It's almost impossible to ride with a bad thumb, so hopefully that thing starts to get feeling better soon so we can get Ducati Randis back in action. Long time no see for Austin Forkner. He's still out after his huge press day crash in Houston where he had a hand injury. He was actually supposed to return in Birmingham, but something must have happened to change that, so hopefully all is well and we can get him back barking on race day soon, but it's not going to be in Birmingham. I didn't think this guy could be broken, but I've been proven wrong. RJ Hampshire suffered a broken foot in a small practice crash back in January, and he's out. Haven't seen anything yet reported about his return, but I'd have to guess at the very least that he's going to be ready to be an absolute dog and go Senjamin Franklin all summer long in Pro Motocross. This was a wild one. Logan Karnow, he suffered a sexual injury the night before San Diego. He crashed in San Diego or something like that, but he broke his collarbone, he jacked up some ribs, and he did not have a good time, and he's still out, but he's hoping to conveniently return at the After Party National this season in Nashville. This one sucks. Drew Adams broke his thumb while having a career day at Daytona battling for some box in the main, and who doesn't love some of that? But instead of box, he got to kick rocks because he crashed really hard in the whoops, he jacked up his thumb, and he's still out for this weekend and likely the next several as well. Thumb injuries suck. This poor kid can't buy any luck. A broken collarbone the week of the East Region opener for Casey Cochran, and man, he's faced a rough streak of injuries since turning pro. We still haven't seen anything about his return, but hopefully it's sooner rather than later because this kid has tons of potential and he just needs to be healthy enough to show it. The Partzilla Arena Cross champ Gage Linville had a gnarly crash right before the East Region opener that I believe was due to a bike issue, but don't quote me on that. Take it with a grain of pepper, but he was down bad. He had 5 broken ribs, a grade 3 lacerated liver, and a small collapsed lung. At least it wasn't a large collapsed lung, but seriously, those were some brutal injuries. Sucks for a dude who's been ripping, but he's back riding and hoping to be back by the end of the 250 East Series. This one is a huge bummer. After just racing and making the main at his first ever Supercross in Indy, Liam Alof had a practice crash last week and he broke his femur, and this is coming right off of an injury suffered in arena cross. He got hurt at the Charlotte Supermotocross last year, and he had a heat stroke at Loretta's last year, so it's been an insanely rough run, but the kid's good, and he'll be back. My guy Bryce Shelly is out. He broke his foot at the Indianapolis Supercross, and he just had surgery. He's at the Healing National, but we're probably not going to see him for a while, maybe not till outdoors. Then there's Anthony Bourdon. He had it bad. He broke both of his arms while practicing. He said it was a bike malfunction, but then I've had multiple people tell me it wasn't, so we got conflicting reports out the ass, but what's not conflicting info is that he's out for Birmingham and probably longer. And then there's his teammate Jack Chambers. He broke his wrist at the practice track. He's out for Birmingham. And who the hell knows for how much longer after that? Well, actually, I'm sure some people know, but I don't. Getting towards the end of this list, thank God, we got Chance Hymas. Dislocated shoulder in the Anaheim 2 start crash. He's out for Birmingham. Haven't heard anything about a return for Supercross, and it would make sense to me if he just started getting ready for a potential title in Pro Motocross with the West Region SX Series only having a few rounds left. This dude might as well be a zombie. Dylan Schwartz, he had a broken rib and 2 vertebrae in his back at one of those early rounds of West Supercross. He still tried to race, but they wouldn't let him, and reports are that he's out for Birmingham, but I'm also seeing riding videos of him on Instagram, so I'm labeling this one a TBD. Might see him, might not. This one's not a TBD, though. My boy Matty Jorgensen, dislocated and broke his wrist while practicing a couple weeks ago, so he's out for the rest of Supercross, but luckily the team is already on the road to getting a replacement with their Ultimate Rider Series, where 16 riders compete for a spot on SLR Honda. Pretty cool deal. I'm excited to tune into it. Then there's Ty Freehill. He dislocated his wrist in the Anaheim 2 heat race, and he's out for Birmingham. And then I saved one of the gnarliest ones for last, Max Miller. He's got a brutal list of injuries with a concussion, compound fracture to the right arm, and a spiral fracture to the right tibia at Glendale, and he's still out, probably going to be out for a while, and it's going to be a gnarly comeback story, but moto guys are mental. I'm sure he'll be back. But yeah, that was way longer of an injury report than I wanted to give you guys. It sucks to see so many guys out, whether they're a top guy, bottom of the barrel privateer, or anybody in the mix. You never want to see anybody go out or get hurt or anything like that, but it's part of the sport, so hopefully that got you guys pretty up to speed and updated on it all. But like I always tell you guys, please let me know what you thought of the video in the comments, if you liked it, if you disliked it. I would say if you agreed with my takes or disagreed, but I didn't really have too many takes besides the one on Chase Sexton and his absence. But yeah, thank you guys again for watching. Really appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. No choice.